This tutorial is a lesson about lesson 4 in chapter 1, being able to add folders and pages to an existing website. On page 1-28 in chapter 1, it talks about adding a folder to a website. So it wants us to right click on the striped site and the striped umbrella down here and choose new folder and then type in assets. A reminder that all folders and files should be lowercase with no spaces, and then hit enter. If I didn't mention this before, the site name can be uppercase and with spaces, and that's because it's within Dreamweaver. And also, if I didn't mention it before, that the site definition is saved with the Dreamweaver program. It's not saved on your flash disk or hard drive. So if you go to another computer to work on your files, it's best to set up another site definition, which doesn't take any time at all, on the other computer so that you can see all your files and folders over here. Now what we've just created was the assets folder, and it's used to save all of your graphics or images. Another book might ask you to create an image folder. Doesn't matter what you call it. It's basically used to save your images or your graphics, JPEGs and GIF files. We can rename this, it talks about, by clicking on it once, and then you'll see that it gives you the ability to rename it. The next thing we're going to do is on page 1-29, and we're going to set this assets folder as the default folder for storing your files. So we want to bring up our site definition dialog box by either double clicking on the site umbrella here, or we can come up here and do Site, Manage Sites, and then find our striped umbrella and choose Edit. And right here is where we want to go and find our assets folder. We could type it in, but it's so much easier to click on this little folder here and then double click on assets there and select. So the main folder is going to hold our pages, our striped umbrella folder, and then the assets folder underneath the striped umbrella folder is going to hold our graphics, our images. So I'm going to click on OK, and then I'm going to click on Done. Now on page 1-30, we're going to open up a file from our student folder, student file folder, and we'll click on File, New, and go up a folder, and I'm going to click on my Dreamweaver folder in chapter 1, and it wants us to open up this file called 1_2 and open. Okay, so what we're going to do is make this our index file. All we did now was we opened it, and you can see that you can see your graphic. Now what we're going to do is we're going to save it as index. So I'm going to do a file, save as. We want to make sure that we save it into our striped umbrella folder, and we're going to call it index. So we highlight that down there and just type in index. We do not have to type a .html. That will get added automatically from this area here. So I'm going to click on Save. And then if it says, do you want us to update links, we're going to say no, because we do not want the image here, this graphic banner, to be linked back to the student folder. So I'm going to say no. What that did is it disconnected the link between the image and the folder that it was established. So now what we need to do is find that file where it's going to be connected. Okay, so when I click on my banner, you can see I get a different property box down here. And what we need to do is establish the source from a different location. Connect it with the new file. I'm going to establish a new connection. So down here I'm going to click on this icon here next to source, and I'm going to go to striped umbrella and double click on assets because that's where I want it to go, and I'm going to click on that icon and say OK, and there's my file, my graphic that came in. Sometimes you have to, if you want to see it over on the right hand side, sometimes you have to hit the refresh button to make it refresh this list. But now you see subanner.gif underneath assets. On page 1-32, now what we're going to do is we're going to right click on the site, and we're going to add a new folder, new file, new file. We're going to add a new file, and we're going to type in about us. Now here you have to type in the HTML. If you leave the HTML off, and then so will Dreamweaver, and then it is not a web page. Just hit enter, and you'll see that it has a new page here. We're going to repeat this 5 times. So we're going to right click here, add new file, and type in the next file name of spa.html. We're going to right click again, new file. We're going to type in cafe.html. Remember to type the HTML. Another place that we can add a file is by clicking on this site definition, site definition, and then click on this icon here. You can do file, new file, and that will also create a blank new file. All we're doing here is creating a blank new file so that we can put stuff in it, put information in it. I'm going to try that again. File, new file, and then type in cruises.html. And one more. And type in fishing. So this is the beginning of our website. So right now what we have is a site definition, the striped umbrella. We have an assets folder that has one graphic underneath it for our banner. Then we have an index page that has information in it. And then down here we have all these blank files. Now up here I want you to notice that I have a tab that says untitled, so I can actually click on the X to delete that. And I have the original file up here for my dw1_2.html. I can delete that now too, so that I just have my index file open. This concludes the tutorial on how to add folders and files to a website.